Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 3D Metabolism panel for the 2021 Fall-Winter Term EML Project Showcase. Our principal investigator for this project is Dr. Lindsay Rogers, who is an assistant professor of teaching in the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. So metabolism is traditionally known as a very difficult subject matter, and a lot of it has to do with the way that we traditionally learn through 2D means. And so textbooks and diagrams generally pose metabolism as such. And so it can be very difficult to grasp the different concepts and connections that exist within the network. And so the goal of our project is to try to create an immersive and interactive visualization of the different metabolic pathways, as well as the network as a whole, to address the needs of not only biochemistry students, but any biology student that is learning metabolism. And I am going to be focusing on the content side, while Mohsen will talk about the development as well as the design and UI changes that we've also made. On the top image, we have what we left off at the end of last summer. And then below that is the progress that we made up until December of last year. And so we upscaled our existing Blender model based on feedback. And we've also added additional pathways, which is really exciting because as we add more pathways to our Blender model, we get to really take advantage of the 3D aspect of metabolism and the different reactions that exist. Additionally, the Wikibase has been updated with these additional pathways, and the Wikibase is a place where we have all of our data within, and so students will be able to access this information as an open source. Additionally, we started talking about implementing audio within our network. And so we started initial discussions as well as sampling of different sounds that we can use to represent different reactions taking place or metabolites moving throughout the network. And as I mentioned earlier, we've also made a lot of UI and animation optimizations, which we plan on continuing into this new year.
So now that Josh talked a lot about the subject matter and what basically our program is and what the content is inside of it, I want to share a little bit about the technical work that the team has been doing. And I'll just jump right into it. So one of our main focuses last semester was the user interface, and we completely rehauled the user interface. And the picture you see is one of our Figma designs. And basically, as you can see, we've added navigation menus, search bars, giving access to the user to play around with the camera settings and also the labels and how the highlighting works. And all of this was done to create a better user experience within the program. Another change that we did to make things smoother was we actually created this code pipeline, as we call it, where essentially we created this centralized place where the status of every single object is kept inside, and everything else, which is like all the other classes, have to communicate with this specific class, which we call status controller. And status controller essentially holds on the information and gives it whenever other classes request it. And this created a very smooth flow of how the highlighting works with our program and things as such. Another change that we did was that we actually redesigned the whole data structure on the back end. So it used to be just lists of metabolites and reactions, but we implemented this thing called graphs, which essentially replicate nodes and edges, edges being the connections between nodes. And we replicate, you kind of have to imagine as this big network of nodes and edges where you can go from one to the other. And how this helps, and this is the picture of, you can see the pathways in blue. The node is the ball things, and the connections are the actual edges. This essentially gives us a lot of opportunity to play around with data and actually give customization ability to the user. Which brings me to what is next for our application. So a main thing that we want to focus on next semester is customizable animations, which as I just explained, also a lot of learning activities. So we want actually biochem students to come in, go through the learning activities and give us feedback of whether this is helpful for them. And we also want to fully user test it. So both for biochem students and non-biochem students, just to see how the experience of the application goes. And obviously, there's a lot of other details that we're going to be focused on, and we'll be happy to answer questions after the presentation. From here, I just want to thank everyone